I'm Allan, an IT operations leader specializing in observability adoption and people leadership under pressure. Metrics and Mayhem is a podcast where I share short, honest signals from the front line, the lessons that you only really learn and hear about when systems and teams are right up against it. Let me start today's episode with a question. Did your team actually hear you? Not did you say it, not did you explain it, but did it land where you think it did? Because in IT ops, that gap right there is where a lot of things quietly and sometimes spectacularly go to shit. We all love telling ourselves we were clear. I said it twice. I put it in the fucking chat. I sent the email. You should have read it. Great. And yet somehow everyone walks away and someone does something completely different. It's frustrating, isn't it? We sit there and we call it a misunderstanding. We write it off like it was unavoidable, like it just happened to us, like it was personal. But maybe it is and maybe it wasn't. Right? Because it was the communication on your terms as a leader. You're communicating on your terms, not on theirs. So here's the truth, at least from where I'm sitting. Communication doesn't happen on our terms. It happens on people who are receiving the information. And under pressure, when we're up against it in these calls and we're trying to resolve issues, suddenly people don't become better listeners. They become worse. It's psychological. They hear what they expect to hear. They fill in the gaps they don't understand, whether it's language barriers, people in different countries, different experience levels, or whether you're just talking too fast because you're under pressure. Your teams latch on to the bit that confirms their own biases, and they quietly ignore the rest. And honestly, sometimes you can't even blame them, because pressure does weird shit to people. So if you're speaking in your favorite style, you're basically rolling the dice. You're hoping for the best. You may think you're in your element and in your zone, but I'm afraid that's not what's happening. I've seen this play out on instant calls only this week, and more times than I can ever think about and count about, all over these years. One person wants to drive in the headline. I'm not talking about the incident manager because they're there for a reason. Another person wants the risk. Another person wants a step-by-step. One just wants someone just to slow the room down and say, guys, everything is under control. And what do we usually do as leaders? We pick one style, always our own, and then we act surprised when half the fucking room is confused and the other half are quietly, completely doing the wrong thing. It's infuriating. And it's taken me all this time to realise that and accept that I am the one that's at fault. So let me ask that question to you again. Did they actually hear you? Or did you just talk? Seems funny saying that while I'm talking into my phone on my walk this morning. So here's the usual Allan hard stop. If they didn't understand you, you didn't communicate. Full stop. Stop fucking blaming other people. There's a habit I've had to learn, and I still catch myself doing it, screwing it up all the time. Before I speak, especially when things are tense, and I'm dealing with senior people or major incidents, or I'm just trying to kill a point, just trying to get something desperately over the line. What does the person actually need who's right in front of me right now? What do they need? Not what do I want to say, not how clever I want to sound, not how do I make sure that my team's arse is covered or that even my arse is covered, or maybe there's some other narrative that I'm being, how can I put it, slowly suggested to take. Not how can I just look and sound authoritative. What will actually help the team or the people you're talking to move forward in that moment? Do they need a one-line decision? Do they need an impact and risk assessment straight away? Do they need the finite detail? Or just fucking reassurance, guys, that, that allows them to think straight? Because 9 times out of 10, you've got great people on these calls, and unless you allow them to breathe and think, and you're there to keep the train on the tracks, the noise away from them, then, again, they won't do what they need to do. So here's my main observation. People don't listen to understand. They listen to reload themselves, right? They listen to move. Well, we're basically like human email threads, right? With the nodding, people wait for their turn. Some people are already drafting their response in their head. So when you finish speaking and everyone nods, it doesn't mean you've succeeded in your message. It means you've just stopped talking. That's it. So here's my signal for today. In ops, don't just be clear. I want you to feel like you've been received. Ask the question, adjust the delivery, and if you really want to know if it landed and it hit, ask them to repeat it back in their own words. Because if the message doesn't land when the stakes are high, you're not leading. You're just another voice or another resource making noise. That's my signal for today. Look, I hope this resonated. If it did, do me a favor, just follow. And if it helps you more than you think, thanks for listening. And until next time.